Did you see Elon Musk got that huge contract to build armored Teslas for the State Department?
Are you fucking kidding me? I did not see this.
It's $400 million.
1-800 kill myself.
I
Wait a minute though. See, no, I did not see that because the only news websites that I look at are about the Chinese automotive industry.
Daily Sports Car.
And dailysportscar.com.
Tumblr.
So no. So somehow that headline escaped my notice because the Chinese apparently don't care about that. So wait, what is this contract for again?
It's this U.S. State Department revised in December its procurement forecast, saying that Tesla will be the recipient of the largest. This is from Dropsite News. Will be the recipient of the largest expected contract, with Marco Rubio's department planning to buy $400 million worth of, quote, armored Tesla. Award is scheduled for Q4 this year and is forecast to last for 5 years. So,
armored Teslas for the military?
For the State Department, I assume it's diplomatic vehicles.
Those are going to be the most blow-upable diplomats we've ever had.
They will probably blow up on their own. Very likely. But it's so... That's, I think, just another... It's like, I think you have to submit a bid, and you have to submit a bunch of evidence that you're the most efficient supplier for something to win a contract like that. So I'm sure they went through all the relevant processes, and I'm sure it was awarded just,
on merit. Yeah.
On merit, yeah. Because everybody knows, yeah. And it happened in December too, and was announced today. So I'm sure they went through a whole process of trying to make sure.
Oh, doubtless. I'm just trying to fix it in my brain. So, I mean, would this be the contract? Like, what the pre-existing contract would presumably be like for what? Like Tahoes, like black Tahoes?
Yeah,
like,
I would think so.
Is that what they like, the armored just kind of SUVs, like the things that like fucking like government officials get run around in, like as part of their?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay, so instead of being in the back of a Tahoe, they're in the back of a model, whatever the stupid gull wing thing is.
I assume it's going to be a Cybertruck.
That's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Armored Tesla.
They're not. I mean, those guys aren't going to want to ride around in the back of those. They're not like comfortable.
Well, if you've been in a Tesla Lift, none of them are comfortable. Like, they're all rattle traps.
Right, sure, but I mean, that truck, I feel like it's. I mean, from what I've seen, like that's not like a comfy. It's not a comfy ride, is it?
I can't imagine.
I mean, like a Tahoe, you at least have like leg room. I mean, that's like a roomy, pretty comfy.
Oh yeah, it's an incredible car. Yeah,
it's sort of it's like it's limousine like, right?
Yeah,
a Cybertruck is fucking not.
Well, it's also notable too that you put gas in the Tahoe. But this is from Rolling Stone. On Tuesday, Trump said he's not worried about potential conflicts of interest arising out of Musk's role overseeing agencies that provide his companies with huge contracts. If we thought that, we would just not let him do that segment or look in that area if we thought there was a lack of transparency or a conflict of interest, said Trump, adding, he's a big businessman. He's a successful guy, and that's why we want him doing this. So, again, I think kudos to Elon. You love to see the young man winning out there, and I cannot wait to see the U.S. state officials being actually. Well, they will probably just give him the money and never get the cars. Let's be honest.
Right.
The odds of them delivering any of these cars.
That's what I suspect. Yeah. I mean, because it would be too fucking funny, and too rich for us to get to see the results of our cherished government officials. Like, having to. I mean, think about like. I mean, there's already been like all the stories of like, there's police departments in California
Yeah.
that have, replaced their whole fleets with Teslas, and then like 6 months later they're just like,
This
yeah,
didn't work.
fuck this.
Yeah.
It's like we're going. It's like we need our our expositions back, or expeditions or explorers or whatever they
Yeah.
were using before.
I wonder if there's an angle they're doing where it's like if they make the Cybertruck synonymous in some way with like this is a thing that carries diplomats, then like maybe they can also, I don't know, make their like we've actually also started a law that like if you harass or intimidate a Cybertruck on the road or commit any act
Yeah.
of vandalism against when you are actually violating like federal law, that's a crime. They're a protected class. The Cybertruck is actually the only protected minority left.
It's like APAC's gonna get in on it.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, the Apex
you know,
Cybertruck fleet. Oh my god.
Cybertruck hate is anti-Semitic. Maddie's falling out of his
Oh
chair.
my god. That's exactly, Peter, you've given us the sentence of our cultural moment is that if he is attacking the Cybertruck is anti-Semitic. That's where we are.
They do. I think there are a lot of Cybertrucks sitting on lots unsold right now, so this will probably help with that, which will
Yeah.
be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plenty still driving around here. Fucking
Good for
sucks.
Elon. Like I said, it's just great to see him, get a win.
He's never had those at all.
Yeah.
Certainly all hard won. The few that he's had definitely has really put in
Someone,
the work.
one of the guys was saying today the government spends $8 million a day with Elon currently before this happened, like all the other government contracts that he has.
Oh, like SpaceX stuff and
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Tesla aside, I feel like Tesla is almost just kind of like it's like a red herring to even think about it in terms of like the real money that Musk is making and can potentially make in the future is all defense contract.
Well, yeah, but
SpaceX
there's
shit.
you can do any. I mean, there's so much. I mean, I think the whole government is his oyster at this point. Which
Yeah, I think we should replace the federal highway system and our interstates with tunnels.
that'd be great.
I don't know why nobody's talking about that yet.
I would
Yeah.
love that.
Mm-hmm. EDM and everything.
I would. Yeah, I would. I would really like that. I think one of the things that I hate about being on the highway is seeing things outside. And if we could get rid of that, that would be so sick.
Personally, I hate efficiency, so I'm with you. Yeah.
And I hate it also how if something bad happens in your car, you can get away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would love it if you could not get away.
Yeah.
Like if
Right.
if
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's great.
Totally.
So good.
I
Yeah.
think we should all have to die on a habit trail with like the third-rate Uber driver who's blasting. Probably also like contractually has to be Israeli-made house music in the car while you are burning to death. That's just where that's just exactly. Yeah. Go in the tube. Die in the tube.
Die
Yeah.
in a tube.
Die in the tube. 2025.
Man. Jesus. I've not seen that now. That's funny. All right. Should we start talking about
Yeah.
the pod?
Sure.
The pod. Talking about cars.
It's the pod where we talk about cars.
What's it called?
Tired. And it's the car podcast for people who understand that cars are bad.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, we have kind of an assortment, a grab bag of things we could talk about for this episode.
another news item.
Yes.
Kia EV6 GT. Do you remember this car?
Yeah.
It's their kind of like sporty little hot hatch EV.
Love a hot hat.
Yeah, it's not little. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's good size. I mean, I really like that car. I think that car
Yeah.
is just styling wise. I think it's fantastic looking. I think
They
it's
look
like
cool.
one of the coolest looking new cars on the road.
Yeah. So according to Cars Direct, the 2024 Kia EV6 GT now features $19,000 in lease cash on a 24-month lease with the option of single pay leases, so you can score lower leasing rates, which would make the car. Let's see here. Would make the car
I mean, those are what, like 60-ish? I mean, the GT is
Yeah,
like the
61.
the fast one, right?
Yeah, 61. So 61, you're basically $20,000 off. So it'd be like 40 grand. Almost to
That's
yeah,
a deal
that's a smoking deal, I think.
for a lease. So what's
Yeah.
what's your
Payment. Well, and this is tricky. So this is the EV6 Lite long range rear wheel drive is listed for leases at $179 a month for 24 months with $3,499 up front.
that's kind of a screaming deal.
Yeah, I think
Right.
like Kevin has tried to go take advantage of a lot of these like crazy advertised lease deals and found out
Yeah.
that like it's pretty much impossible to actually get one for that. I think like
Awesome.
Yes.
uh,
Well, he did mention this is Kevin Williams, friend of
Yeah.
the pod, who we had on talking about his adventures actually driving Chinese cars in China. Yeah, and he did mention on that episode that yeah, he was looking at it at a Hyundai
Yeah.
Ioniq 5, which is the Hyundai version of that EV6, and
for like $89 a month.
yeah, said he had such a shitty experience in the dealership that he just ended up walking out, which is not surprising.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where most of the car buying thing falls apart is when you have to go to the dealership.
When you actually have to, yeah.
Or
It's
not.
like, can I order this online? Yeah. Well, oh well. How's the Rivian? Did you get it? Is it back in business?
Yeah, so we had the epilogue to that. The service people kept calling me and they were like yeah, we're gonna send somebody up. Apparently there's a Rivian tech who's in Traverse City every Tuesday. Because there are so many Rivians up here. But he I was trying to call them and cancel, and I was like, hey, like I think I'm gonna be able to figure this out. And then I like went and plugged the GTI into the little jumper wiring harness thing that I described before, and it worked fine. Charged the car, hooked it up to the charger, and it was totally fine. And I was trying to cancel, and they were like, "Hey, there's a safety related thing
yeah, you
that
said
we
something about some suspension bolts or something.
yeah,
that
yeah,
needed-
yeah. And then they were like, so we'll want to do that, and then like you'll probably end up wanting to replace the 12-volt batteries because once they run dead, if they're dead for 12 hours, they're going to start corroding, and they aren't going to work anymore. And the guy came up, and it was like, he's got his van, and it was like maybe 5 degrees felt like outside. And he was like, yeah, those batteries are probably fine. He's like, if it's charging and working, he's like, you're probably good. He's like, I've been doing this for a couple of years now. He's like, you probably got away with one. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, do you want to look at those suspension bolts? And he was like, yeah, like not under these circumstances. And I was like, because it's
Not
cold.
today.
Yeah, he's like, it's cold. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I don't want to get in the snow. And I was like, do you want me to shovel the driveway so we can get out to the shop and just pull it up on the lift? And he was like, yeah. And like,
He's like, you got a lift?
yeah.
This is
So
the
we
best
started.
day
Okay.
of that guy's life, Rory.
Yeah. Well, we started doing it, and then he was like, yeah, actually, this is probably fine. Like, like, I'll just come up another time. And I was like, well,
Circle back.
this like safety thing, I was like, is there a way, is there a way that like I would know that something bad is happening before it happens? And he was like, yeah, it'll start making noise. Like it's a really nasty, like like you'll start hearing a really loud noise from underneath the car.
Yeah.
And I
It's
was
like, can you just send the whatever the instructions that they send to the dealers or to the maintenance guys? Can you just send that to me and I can just put it on the lift and do it myself?
That's what I ended up. I was like,
tell me what to set the torque wrench to. You know,
he was like, just torque him to 135. He's like,
oh, there you go.
He's like, they fail a lot down south, but he's like, I've never seen them out of torque spec here in Michigan, like where it's cold. So I don't know. We'll see. It we will definitely see. It's, I don't know. I guess it's fine. It's fine to have the car back, and I don't know. It's just such a, it's just like not a car for me. I don't know how this happened.
It's funny. I was telling my wife this story. She was asking, "What did you guys talk about on the pod the other night?" And I was telling her the story, and she was just like, "Why did he buy that car?"
I know. I don't.
From downtown, just wish.
Right.
I mean, I know. The way it happened was that the Lexus was getting old, and I was tired of working on it. And then I was like, oh, I'll just buy a new Lexus. And then I was like, well, a new Lexus is $1,200 a month. And then Daniel was like, you should get a Rivian. They're way cheaper. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just did it, and that was it. So it was like, yeah, but it's like, that's how the decision tree went. But she's right. There's no reason for me to have this car. I don't, it's such a weird part of my life that I own this expensive electric SUV. It's like kind of incomprehensible.
I mean, I feel like it does. I mean, it suits your needs in a lot of ways. Just in terms of just being a family hauler and tow capable, and at least in a local sense. And just as a daily, I mean, it's basically free to run, right? Because you're charging it at home, and but I mean, the exception is that as for somebody who does make long drives, fairly often,
all the time,
like that's kind of not the best,
not ideal, but it's also just like from a. It's too nice. Like it's too.
It does feel a little out of character.
Yes, it is 100% out of character. And I think like, I don't know, last year at this time, it was like, it just felt like you need to have a grown up car. And I think like the Lexus that I had previously, there are pictures of it online, I think on Jalopnik. I don't know if you ever put pictures up here, but it was like, lifted, and it was on bronze wheels, and it had like KO2s on it and a roof rack and like recovery boards and a shovel and stickers, and like it was like, it was a car that just did not feel like was grown up enough for me. And like the straw that broke the camel's back for that car was that I went to my uncle's funeral, and like that was our family car, like that's what we drove, and it was like, a bunch of 70 and 80-year-olds, and then I rolled in this thing, and it was like
the beast.
Yeah, it's just like looked like it just came off the Rubicon Trail or whatever, and it's like that's not really, I'm in my 40s, like it's just not really appropriate anymore.
All they see is just like this blinding light of the light bar.
Yeah, I mean,
the roof rack light bar, just coming at them like.
It's just too much. And it was like, okay, what is a 42-year-old? And really, like, the answer to that question is like the Lexus or like the new Land Cruiser would have been great. But
right
here we are. So I think like very likely what'll happen is I'll turn the Rivian in at the end of the lease, and I will either depending on how I'm situated job wise, I'll either buy a 2023 or 24 used a Land Cruiser or a Lexus GX, and that'll be the end of that. It's just a very weird moment in the history of, like, prior to buying Christina's car. Well, maybe prior to buying the Lexus. So the Lexus was the newest car I had ever owned. No, that's not true. I bought a brand new GTI, but other than that, I had not bought a new car. I had not bought a car newer than 20 years old in my life.
Right.
And then I bought the Lexus, and it was like 16 years old. And then I bought like this brand new. And like, granted, I had access to press cars, and like I was driving new cars all the time, but like it's a big swing to go from like the old GX to the Rivian. So it was a lesson learned. We tried it. We're gonna live 2 years with a luxury car, and we will go right back to dirtbag style and never think about this again.
Hell yeah. I mean, it lets you
Yeah.
do some
Well,
PSAs at least about like for other electric car owners at least. In the
Yeah,
meantime.
no, that's the thing. I feel
Yeah.
like it has value just as just a 2-year experiment in just kind of I mean, you can now speak authoritatively about the
Yeah.
experience of owning an EV, at least at this moment.
Yeah. I mean,
in the U.S., which
I will say I am getting a little bit tired of having experiences where I'm like, well, I learned a lot of valuable lessons.
Rory, I know exactly what you mean. I have to hey
'Cause
man,
it's like-
listen. Yeah.
I kind of like, I feel like at a certain point I know or can intuit most of the stuff. I don't need to be taught a lesson, you know?
right. Yeah.
I'm tired of building
Just-
character for a while. I kind of
Yeah,
like.
just-
I think I've been pretty built for a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like the world doesn't need to teach me that many more lessons, I don't think.
Yeah.
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 Did I talk about the Warren winch that I sold on the Lexus, by the way, to Zach? So have we had Zach on? Zach Wycliffe? Okay, Zach.
No.
We should. He's great. He's an engineer. He's the one who bought the Lexus from me, and like I had paid $2,700 for a Warren, like super heavy duty winch, and used it a couple times, but really never really got stuck in the car, so I didn't abuse it. But Zach,
The purpose of a winch for non off-roaders is to be able to extricate yourself
Yes.
from when
It's
you get stuck.
it's a huge ball of wire or cable at the front of the car with a motor that you've seen them before. They sit at the front bumper, and you can hook it up to a tree or whatever and pull yourself out.
It's like a pulley, and
yeah.
you hook the hook to some fixed object like a
Yeah.
tree or whatever, and then you turn on and it cranks the car out of its
Out of your-
stuck position.
Yeah. But, and like, this is another very interesting, it was like a lot of the stuff that I built or that I put on that car is like designed in Australia or designed like in California and primarily used in like Australia, California, like those areas. But just cannot handle like salt and corrosion. And so like that winch just from sitting, is wrecked, and like the internal connections in the motor are completely ruined. Warren refuses to fix it. They offered to sell him like a part for $900
Jesus.
to replace that, because I don't have the original purchase receipt, but it's like it's got a serial number. I have all the documentation. I just it's like on its second owner, and he doesn't have the receipt, and I can't find it anywhere. But the Rivian is also like, there are parts of the Rivian which I've had that car since April, I think, and like there are visible rust. There's visible rust forming like on the front recovery point tow hooks, from like. But it's very funny. Like you have to imagine that like this stuff is not validated and not tested in like high salt like Midwest environments, because it's just like. That winch thing was just shocking to me, but it's he's like totally out of luck, and and they're not going to do anything to fix it. But yeah. Anyway, that's a little little sidebar about the GX. Anyway, what else is going on?
Well, I kind of there was the while I was away, there was a notable
The
race
Daytona.
that
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, not one that I was at, but you guys watched it. Or
Yeah.
I assume, or followed to some degree.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
had it on the old television. This was the first Daytona in a long time that I was not at least for like a few hours. I
Yeah.
like the like there have been times where I've gone to Daytona on like a Thursday and been out on Friday, or gone like for a day, like just when I lived in Detroit, would just fly in for the day. This is the first one that I like watched entirely from. Actually, yeah, the first one I watched entirely from home. Last year I was there for a few hours at least, which is a very weird experience. It was kind of a bummer. Not kind of a bummer. It was extremely a bummer.
Yeah.
But
it looked like a fun race.
yeah, it looked awesome. Yeah,
It looked really exciting.
yeah.
There were some very exciting, some highs and lows. There were
Yeah.
some moments. There were some hashtag moments.
Yeah. What were some of the takeaways?
I'm pulling up the results now.
Yeah, I'm pulling up my
I mean,
my blue sky post.
Yeah, the number 7 Porsche won
Yep.
overall again.
Yeah.
Which that's 2 years straight for that car, which is an impressive feat. Netted Nick Tandy his what are they calling it? The Grand Slam of 24-hour races, because he's now won the Nürburgring, Le Mans, Daytona, and what's the other one? Spa.
Yeah. We saw Acura Meyer Shank coming back to win second, and the other Porsche number 6 winning third. It was weird to see like no Cadillacs on the podium. The best Wayne Taylor ended up 5th. What happened to their car? They had an issue, right?
Cadillac's had some.
Cadillac had a bad time. Everyone was losing their minds about that overtake that Kamui Kobayashi did, which was crazy. And then like almost immediately afterward, all I saw was everyone being like, and there it goes.
Yeah, like he got in the car and like made up like 8 places in something like 15 minutes. I mean, I watched the clip of that, and it was wild.
It was
I mean,
insane.
like,
It's crazy.
and then it was a little while later, and it wasn't him at the wheel. It was what's his name?
Delatraz, was it?
Yeah, Louis Delatraz, who I think went out on cold tires and got loose coming out of turn 1, and yeah, and it was a big smash up. Total bummer. That car out. The other Wayne Taylor Cadillac.
That was one that finished 5th. The
okay.
And
the
then the other
Kobayashi
Cadillac.
Taylor car
Yeah.
finished 11th
Mhm.
and broke. It did not
Yeah.
finish. So yeah, kind of a bummer for Cadillac.
The other Cadillac that wasn't Wayne Taylor also didn't finish, right?
That had a kind of a sizable looking wreck as well. The Whelan car.
Yeah. God, that feels like 100
Something
years
broke.
ago.
It looked like
Yeah.
it looked like something broke on it, just kind of going down the back straight. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, kind of bummer day for Cadillac. I think that the kind of most surprising takeaway from that, as far as the GTP cars, was just how strong the BMWs looked, even though they didn't finish on the podium. But
They were close. They were 4th.
But yeah, I mean, they got the pole, and they were like right there in contention, like right up until it looked like at least one of them until pretty close to the end. So I think, I mean, if that's any indication, it seems like maybe the days of BMW kind of being the also ran
Yeah.
in that class might be over, to
That would
make
be
things
nice.
a little bit more interesting going forward.
That would be very fun.
Yeah, I also saw a thing today that apparently they're testing at Sebring right now, and the car that they're running is just a bare carbon. They stripped the wrap off of it, and it's just running in the black. It looks pretty sick, but apparently they're going to be debuting a new livery for Sebring that might have something
That'll be
to do
fun.
with like BMW's 50th anniversary in the does that sound right? How, I don't know. Somebody was saying something about
What is
anniversary.
50 years ago was 2007? No.
Yeah,
19,
I think that's right.
1995 was 50 years ago, right? The Aston,
Yeah, what happened in 1975 for
um,
BMW?
was it the end of the
Is
war?
it-
No.
It's like the anniversary of their like racing debut.
Maybe
something? Factory I
Could
don't
it be
know,
M?
factory racing thing in the US.
I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe it's bullshit. Maybe it's 100 years. Maybe it's 75. Anyhow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's some unspecified. We're not going to look it up anniversary, but we're celebrating. We will be right there.
We'll
to
find
celebrate,
out. We'll
for
find
sure.
out at Sebring.
Yep.
Yeah.
So excited. But yeah, I feel kind of, it feels like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
The 24 Hours of Daytona to me.
That race,
Feels like
yeah.
Much
months
excited.
Well,
ago.
The other kind of big story from it was the thing where one of the Corvettes was dicing with a BMW for the lead, and there was another BMW that was I guess like 55 laps down.
Yeah.
and who was kind of
Harassing.
just kind of like in the way, say of the Corvette. There's Augusto Farfus.
Yes, who you then saw at
driving
Bathurst.
Yeah, who so yeah, so he was and we don't know whether this was of his own volition or
Team orders
or who who was behind this, but he was very deliberately obstructing the progress of that Corvette, and to the point where Tommy Milner, like finally the I guess what happened was Farfus was going to have to come in to do like a drive-through penalty for blocking. But nobody told Milner this, and so he's out there just like losing his mind, and he ends up kind of getting a little overheated and getting into the side of the other car, the other BMW that he was battling, and damaging his car. And when he came in, and then as as Farfus is coming into the pits to serve his penalty, and I heard about this before I actually like watched the replay, so the way it was described was that when Farfus came into the pits to do his drive-through, Milner, as he was coming by, just stuck his arm out the window
at 180 miles an hour
and gave him the finger. And I just assumed like, oh, maybe he was coming down pit lane too, but no. He was coming down the front fucking straight
at speed,
at max
insane.
velocity.
If you've ever stuck your arm out of the car at 80 miles an hour, you can imagine like what an additional 100 mile an hour difference would be.
And those things, like, I mean, the windows on, it's not like you roll down the window. It's just like, it's like a perspex thing. It's just like a little sliding pane that, I mean, it's not even that big. So like for him to even just to like, I have to think like with the harness on, you got your Hans device. I mean, these guys can barely fucking move in the car, right? I mean, they're so just like strapped in and immobilized. But that he was able to crack that window, get his arm out the window, like, shoulder high or whatever, and then be flipping the bird at 180 plus.
He was hot after the race
That's
too. He was
that's pretty impressive. Yeah.
he,
No,
he was not in good spirits.
The hater energy was so strong within him at that moment.
He was very testy.
But he did say after the race, like I think they had gone to him and he was like, yeah, no, I like me and Farfus have never had trouble. Like I respect him a lot. I believe this was the team.
Yeah, he did for. Oh, this is great. The Tommy Milner after the race had a nice T-shirt designed that the proceeds of the T-shirt were going to go to the American Eagle Foundation, which I assumed was like a foundation for like SEAL Team 6 members who got caught drug trafficking.
Yeah.
But it is actually for eagles, for literally the bird, the eagle, which
it's
is like
for
all right.
birds.
Nice.
Yeah, fair enough. But they sold 4,700 T-shirts at I don't know what, $40, is that right? Something like that.
Pretty good.
Yep.
I had a note about something I learned while I was looking at stuff about Daytona that I didn't know. So the gentleman driver classification system where you have bronzes and silvers, etc. I did not know that like because of a bunch of weird technicalities, like Ben Keating is stuck at bronze, either like because of his age or whatever else, like the age at which he started racing and some other weird stuff. Like he's just been relegated to bronze forever, even if he's like out there and just whips ass. Like what's up with what's that? How do people talk about that?
You may be asking the wrong guy. That's a very tough one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is age. I think that I mean, there is some distinction between amateurs and pros as far as that goes, and like even pro drivers, like their ratings will go up and down, depending on they're kind of they review the ratings every year, and
here it is.
Even for pro guys, like there are at a certain age you do get demoted from a gold to a silver.
So
or
here's
platinum.
here's the actual the classification. This is from the FIA driver categorization regulations. A bronze driver is a driver who was over 30 years old when his or her first license was issued, and who has little to no single-seater experience. So Keating started when he was 35.
Yeah.
So he just started too
There
late.
you go.
A bronze driver is a driver over 30, previously categorized as a silver, but with no significant results, meaning titles, pole positions, or race wins, and whose performance has been shown to be at that of a bronze driver in a monitored series, or is a driver aged 27 and older in accordance with Article 6.2 and Article 6.3, with no significant results, titles, pole positions, race wins, and whose performance has been shown to be that of a bronze driver. But it's cool for Keating because like that's basically like a cheat because he's got like incredible ability. And
Well,
like,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's why he's so sought after.
Yeah.
As a bronze, because he's basically, because in a lot of those classes, you just you're required to have at least one bronze driver. In a pro-am class, you have to have at least one bronze, and that guy has to serve some minimum drive time in a given race, and usually that's the guy who's writing the checks, whose whole job is just kind of not to fuck up, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, we don't care if you get past, just bring it home, bring it in one piece, whatever, we'll make that time back. And basically all the other teams that you're competing against in your class, everybody has that same handicap, except when you have a guy like Ben Keating, who is a bronze, but has the talent of a silver or gold driver, and suddenly that becomes like a huge advantage, because now instead of being a handicap,
your bad driver is actually quite good.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's like I can see the utility of having like, oh, there's one bronze who we know by having, who statistically is going to perform better than every other bronze, and every other bronze is going to bring down the average a little bit for that team, but ours is going to bring ours up. So that's cool, actually. That's a really neat way to
Yeah.
look at the tier system. I mean, it
Exactly.
seems like people like there's value in getting moved up because it's a sign of like you're performing well, etc. But being able to be the best bronze actually does sound like it has a lot of utility.
And I
Yeah.
mean, he's driven everything. He's driven.
Oh,
He
yeah.
drove the GTP Porsche last year, which he said was scary, and he would not do it again. I think
Oh no!
he has driven 9.
Wait, did he drive in a race, or just he just did he
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
get
he was
get
at Daytona. He drove the 963 with
Wow.
Richard Westbrook.
Oh, wow, I forgot
finished
about that.
6th overall, but he said it was scary, and he's like,
So he kind of likes LMP2 and down.
he said,
kind of
I enjoy pushing my limits. I enjoy feeling like, okay, the car is capable of so much more than I am, and I can really push my limits of myself inside of a race car. And the LMDH car, poof, I felt scared every corner, every braking zone, because the cars are heavier than the LMP2, because the tire does not have as much grip as an LMP2. It's brake by wire, so I don't have a good feeling for what's going on with the brakes. But
One of the places covering the race I saw a short video clip of was playing one of his dealership commercials, but where he was talking
yeah?
about like great deals, but he was doing like a Star Wars thing, and so he's like waving like a lightsaber around on like a
Yeah.
green
Oh my
screen
God.
background. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, I'm such a Ben Keating fan.
it's
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
If your savings end soon, so hurry over to Port Lavaca for the biggest savings of the year. Save big and booming Port Lavaca!
I know we talk a lot of about how we feel about car dealers and car dealerships, but I will give Mr. Keating a pass because he's very talented and seems very charming, and I think he's beautiful. So
I think that the one of the laws of the tired pod, and one of the laws that I try to live with generally, is that I have immediate suspicion of rich people, and I have double immediate suspicion of car dealers. But if you spend your money racing, it's like you flip flop. So it's like I automatically give you the benefit of the doubt, because it's like such a dumb thing to do with your money. You know what I mean? Like, it is such a, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's such a, it has to be such a genuine, like, it's an insane thing. Everyone loses money. Everyone puts themselves at personal risk, either physically or monetarily. And it's like I said, it like immediately flips you into my give them the benefit of the doubt versus like total suspicion of the person. If you choose to waste your gains on motorsport, it's like, all right, he can't be that bad.
Yeah, he's an interesting character, and I mean, I feel like every time he comes up, I mention the Dinner with Racers interview with him, and I feel like they've since recorded a new one that I haven't listened to, but the one from a few years ago, one of the things that he talks about is just kind of like, because his dad owned a dealership. It was kind of a family business, but he did not go into it with his dad, and in fact, like, he wanted to do this thing on his own, just completely independently, and started his first dealership, and like a series of them, but with the way he describes it is just like this. It just sounds like this, like, crazy, over leveraged, he's like, he's mortgaging his house.
Yeah.
oh
like
man.
like 3 times over. He's like borrowing money from like a grandparent or something, and but it's like, and just putting it all down on black, basically.
Yeah.
And hoping it works out, and it's kind of a pattern with him. I mean, this is kind of in his early life, and this is after having been a drug dealer as a teenager.
Yeah.
But it definitely, he does seem to have a component of his personality that is really
Compulsive.
drawn to just really high risk situations. So you just like, he cannot resist it. And it seems like with the racing, he is kind of like finally found like
Healthy outlet.
sort of healthy way to to channel that energy into a place that at least isn't going to bankrupt his family.
Well,
But
I mean, never say never. That it's
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
racing after
Hope
all.
not.
but yeah, interesting dude for sure.
We should have him on.
We should.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this is complete change of subject, but
Go for it.
I wanted to do a rental car review of my
Ooh.
Toyota Corolla
Yeah.
Yes, Corolla
That I-
Edition.
that I drove in Australia. It was apart from the fact that you had to sit on the wrong side of the car, which we've already talked about that part of it. It was remarkable for how unremarkable it was. It was they did upgrade me to the hybrid, so I got a hybrid Corolla. I don't know what I would have gotten otherwise, but it was just the 5-door hatch and yeah, it just, I mean, like we've talked about with respect to Toyotas, it's like, yeah, interior stuff, a little bit primitive, not quite, it's not going to wow you with its sexy user interface or anything, but kind of like, yeah, just everything just kind of worked, in a way that you, expected it to. The one thing that really surprised me though was, I have to say, because with a rental car, I mean, well, the like the lane change, like the lane assist feature, which like every time I've ever been in a car and felt that, like I immediately pull over. It's like, okay, turn this fucking shit off.
Yeah.
Like I do
Get
not,
it gone.
and I will spend 15 minutes fucking going through menus trying to find how do you defeat this stupid thing that I do not want this thing tugging at the wheel.
It's dangerous.
It's like,
Hate it.
it's like, I know I'm out of the lane. I'm swerving to avoid a pothole or some jackass who's, I am driving with intention. I don't need you to help me.
Yeah.
The lane assist in the Corolla was so like gentle as to almost be completely invisible. Like
Wow.
it was just like the slightest, like the first couple of times it happened, I was just like, wait, was that something? And it was just, I'd never encountered that before. It was like, oh, that's fine. I can hang with that. It's the first time I've ever felt that in a new car. So there was that. The other part of it was I didn't. I mean, I wasn't monitoring my gas mileage. I was kind of too busy just trying not to get into an accident most of the time. But I did note that when I returned the car and took it to the gas station that I had a hard time getting out of to fill it back up before returning it. Like it was, I put in less than half a tank. I used less than half a tank. The gauge was at or just above the the half a tank line. And just today, I went and looked up what is the fuel capacity of that car, and it is 43 liters, which comes out to 11.35 gallons. So this is it's not even a 12-gallon gas tank. So I'm going to assume that that I used, let's be generous and say that I used 6 gallons. And I mapped out my route, and it's basically about close to 600 kilometers. And that's not including, just the driving that I was doing around town while I was in Bathurst, which was not a lot, but tack a handful of miles on. And so that comes out to 375 miles.
Wow.
About. So basically whatever this number was, it was more than 60 miles per gallon that this fucking little Corolla was doing
Yes.
in the time that I was driving it. And and it's like I was not driving the car hard, obviously.
Yeah.
Speed limits down there are generally pretty low, and people do tend to observe them.
Surprising.
Yeah. So I mean that's kind of like best case scenario. I think for any drive, I would not expect to get the same results with me driving here. It would probably be going
Yeah.
considerably harder. But I was still just like kind of blown away by that. I mean, that's like 60 miles per gallon at minimum. Like I think
that's
it was
awesome.
actually a bit higher than that.
That's Toyota's
Pretty
bread and
crazy.
butter, right? Is they really care about hybrids and making good hybrids instead of going full electric, right?
That's I mean that was their thing from the beginning, was that when everybody else was going all in on EVs, they were just being very conservative and just saying, well, yeah, we'll get there too, but we're mostly going to do this, and that's the thing. And it's like, I mean, you'd expect that from a Prius. This was not a Prius. This was just a bread and butter,
Corolla, baby.
yeah, just white Corolla, man, just the classic fleet spec rental car. And the hybridness of it was completely invisible. You could see when you were on electric power, just because the tack wasn't moving, and then every once in a while it would kick in. Yeah, it was very impressively seamless, and yeah, just as a car to do the job of the basic thing of being a car. I think you understand why why these things are so, why, yeah, I mean, just for non-enthusiast car owners, like why would you get anything
Do anything else? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, because
Yep.
you like to sit up high, I think is the answer to that for most people these days.
Well, then they buy a RAV4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
get a RAV? Is there a RAV4 hybrid? I assume there is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was like probably the most in-demand car during the early COVID period was the RAV4 hybrid. They were selling for like 20 grand over sticker.
God, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was trying to find someone, or just find one for somebody, and it was like, I was like, I'll help you find one or whatever. And then I start looking, and it's like, actually, these are impossible to find. I have to like call someone from Toyota to get you one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just checking the KBB on my old ass Corolla, even after entering the slight body damage mine has from an SUV almost changing lanes into me and me having to bite a guardrail instead of taking that. But I checked the KBB, and my car is still like the cash estimate on my 15-year-old like regular ass Corolla is still between like $4,000 and like $6,000. Like just clean and easy. Like
Yeah.
we paid $9,000 cash for that thing 5 years ago, and it's like it's only I have driven it up to like 133,000 miles, and it's still like it has held its value really, really well, considering way better than the Accord I drove for 6 years that went down to like why bother levels of
Truly.
cash value.
A wonderful car.
Yeah. Oh, Peter, I had a question about your Corolla experience. Did your you had some friends who were giving you a little crash course, right? Did they tell you anything about like what to anything about driving in Australia that you didn't know beforehand or that was surprising to you?
Oh, good question.
Oh, no. Although I did ask them, because we were in Melbourne, and Melbourne is a very cool city, but it is famous for one thing that I have never encountered anywhere else, and it's something called a hook turn. And this is in it's just kind of in the kind of the downtown area of Melbourne, so kind of like central business district, so so you have like big broad streets, maybe like 2 lanes in either direction, and at an intersection, we'll reverse it because
Yeah.
yeah,
Going the wrong way.
not, yeah.
Huh.
So imagine you are making a left turn So a turn against traffic, right?
Yep.
What you do, rather than getting into a turn lane in the middle, as we would do here, you get into the far right lane, and you kind of, and when the light goes green, you just hold up there in the right lane, and the traffic goes past you in your direction, and the oncoming traffic goes past you in the other direction. And then at the end of the cycle, before it flips back to red, it will be red for the people going straight, and then you get the arrow and you do this turn from the far right lane all the way across. You do your left turn into the it's like now it's clear, and so now it's your turn to go, and it's just like this weird unconventional thing that like. There it is. There's the link.
That's crazy.
Right.
If I
Yeah,
saw that sign, I would
just-
I would be so afraid.
I would just neglect to participate. I'd be like, we're not doing that.
The thing is,
pull over.
it seems crazy, but the first time you see it, it totally makes sense, and you just go, oh, okay, that's cool. That's kind of better. Like it just like it's one of those things that it just kind of works.
Yeah.
I would just abandon my car. I would just be like,
I understand.
and it's funny. I did ask my hosts in Melbourne about that, and they all just like shook their heads like, oh yeah, we don't fuck with that, man.
yeah.
It's like I've lived in this city for 10 years, and I don't think I've ever encountered it. Like they don't go downtown, so it's, they're not cruising around the CBD. So I guess if you're not go into business meetings or whatever, you might not encounter that in your daily life as a Melbourneite.
That's crazy.
But yeah, they thought it was funny that I knew what it was. That's the only thing that I can think of. I mean, I feel like people did tell me that like signaling is a big deal. Like if you don't signal a lane change or a turn, like people will get like really mad. And I feel like there were a couple of times where I was just like going to like pull over, just like trying to park, just find a spot to park. I mean, this is just like on a street, just and just kind of like moving over to the side to park, and there's somebody behind me and they're a ways back, and it's like, and I don't have the bandwidth to be thinking about like, okay, can I fit in that parking space, and also can I slow down here and get out of this person's way, and can I also remember which of these stalks is going to turn on the windshield wipers and which one is going to turn on the turn signal? And like that person, as they passed, like I think they either like honked or just gave me like a nasty look, like the fuck are you doing,
And were you
so,
like, did you mouth that you were American to them? I'm American. And they were like,
I was just like,
oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That makes sense.
Sorry. Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm dumb.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Yeah.
They'd be like, I'm so sorry.
No, I would fit in great in Australia as an obsessive turn signaler. I'll be in the mall parking lot like, and a left.
You won't believe this, but I would have to really think about it. I don't like to telegraph my next move to the other drivers if I can avoid it. No, just joking. I do.
I mean, the thing is, like, I'm not like, if there are other people around, I will signal, but I'm not like, I'm not. It's
not a habit.
I'm not 100% about it. For sure.
Yeah, I do it intentionally. Like when I have to tell, like when I'm trying to explain something to someone visually, like I'm going to be in your lane soon. Or I'm trying to turn, then I do. But yeah.
No, I'm full Mr. Muscle Memory. If I'm like if I'm in like a suburban development with no one else around at like 2 a.m, I'm coming to a full stop at the stop sign. I'm hitting my turn signal, looking both and making my turn. I will every single little bit. Peter will know what I mean when I say that the Carolinas were a difficult adjustment for me. A place where famously everyone is like, now why would I that doesn't no, we don't do that here. Why would I ever signal something before I do it? I just enter your lane and I'm there because I want to be.
Yeah.
Not fun. Not a good culture fit for me personally.
Yeah, I have like a pretty solid knowledge of which stop signs are real and which stop signs are just like this fake stop signs in parking lots, and I like
Right.
take a pretty casual approach to most of that stuff. But yeah, well,
Do we want to talk about any of that Chinese stuff, or should we leave
Oh,
it?
it's so that price point made me go like temporarily. I feel like I could have done a backflip in the kitchen when you said what the price point is on that.
I mean, the thing, the kind of the salient takeaway. I mean, the God's Eye thing, I feel like is worth talking about, just because it made some numbers go up, and it's interesting to me. So this was just like, well, it was just a few days ago. BYD held this big launch ceremony, announcing a new driving assistance system suite that they've called God's Eye.
Fucking sick.
or I guess depending on how it's I've heard somebody else kind of translate it as you could also translate it as celestial eye, something like this.
Even cooler.
But it's a 3-level kind of ADAS system that they're gonna roll out and put in every single car standard. This does not cost anything extra, and it's it's just like this suite of sensors, cameras, up to and including LiDAR stuff, which Tesla has kind of famously eschewed, and basically the chairman, Wang Shanfu, is saying that in the next 2 to 3 years, intelligent driving will become an indispensable configuration for any new car. But what they're not saying, they're not making like it's like they're touting this, they're talking about it as intelligent driving, but they're not touting it as autopilot. They're being very kind of cautious. I mean, it's obviously like it's a big deal, and the more like the top tier stuff, basically, like the bottom rung of it is no LiDAR. It's just cameras and other sensors, and then it's like the middle tier, which will be available, and it's like they're available on the kind of different brands, and the more premium brands have the like the Yangwang cars will have like the full suite, which is like three LiDARs and like crazy computing power, but they're talking about linking this to DeepSeek, which is the AI thing that was rolled out to much market consternation while I was away.
That was a beautiful day.
There was that fun day when I was out walking around and texting with you guys, and you were sharing with me all the graphs of the cratering AI. Who was it that was just that lost like $1 trillion?
Nvidia ate shit. Well,
Right.
for a little bit, it was nice. That was a fun day.
Yeah. So they're talking about like linking this to DeepSeek, but again, I mean, this is big news. It's a big story. But what I find most interesting about it is how they're not talking about it. They're not talking about it as like, it seems like they're kind of, the claims that they are making for it are just, this will be these tools that will enable some limited self-driving capabilities, but it's not being sold as full driving, full self-driving autonomy. They're not talking about autonomy, which I think is interesting, or at least not full autonomy. Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that like, and even if they were, and just talking, anytime, like, I mean, obviously we've spent a lot of time talking about AI stuff and the kind of AI bubble, and how, a big chunk of that is just a lot of hype and bullshit, even as, it does have like legitimate practical applications, in medicine or whatever else. But I feel like there's always some kind of just baked in skepticism with regard to AI stuff and the claims that are made for it. But like with what, it's like just because I feel like that skepticism has been, is earned, right? Whereas, I mean, just when the Chinese talk about it, just based on their track record of developing new technology and implementing it in ways that are actually, pretty functional and pretty impressive. And, and it's like, you can say, oh, it's propaganda or whatever, but it's like, look, man, it's like either they have like the world's biggest fucking high-speed rail system or they don't. And they fucking built that out over 20 years in a way that is just like, that's real. And when they start talking about, integrating AI into, suites of car intelligence, I feel like maybe you have to take it seriously, like, and see like how is this going to develop, and what will it look like in 5 or 10 years?
I don't know. I still have a hard time with it. It's just like, what is the conceivable, actual, like, real world use case that makes it, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it merits consideration in the sense that, like, in this case, like, because it's happening in China at such a low price point, we can imagine that it's not purely a tech industry hype thing that's like just meant to float tech for another couple of months and keep capital moving
Right.
around.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, we can assume that. And I think also, like, at a, whatever they said, $6 billion price tag, it doesn't have to be what AI has to be in the United States. Like, if you spend $500 billion on AI, it has to be a world-changing technology to ever hope to even begin to pay that money back.
Right.
Like, it would have to be like 100% ubiquitous and, like, basically like the basis of the economy to justify that kind of investment.
Sure.
$6 billion is like it's like, I don't know. There's all $6 billion doesn't get you very far in the automotive industry, so it doesn't the business case for it can make a lot more sense. But yeah, I'm still very skeptical. I'm don't disagree with anything that you said about the Chinese developing it and their track record, but it's just, I still have a hard time understanding like what the practical applications of AI are, aside from like special effects and like that kind of stuff. Making a new Beatles song where John Lennon they isolated John Lennon's vocals from a demo.
I think also, like, I have a friend who works in like LLMs and kind of knows a lot about this stuff, who I should ask sometime to help me kind of delineate the differences between like everything we've had with, what an algorithm, everything we've lumped under like an algorithm or, like computer generated stuff over time versus now what gets lumped in under AI, and how some
Right.
of those are, how those are differentiated, and how maybe some of the stuff that gets labeled AI is just for branding and isn't as different in kind
totally.
from some of the stuff we
Yeah.
used to just call an algorithm, and some stuff is like Gen AI, kind of like relational model stuff that is not trustworthy and is especially like, I think some of the like the stuff about like people using ChatGPT as Google is very disheartening and unfortunate because you get there's a lot of bad outcomes to that. But I mean, you know,
I don't know what you're talking about. I see lots of really funny outcomes all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something. Not that Google's been great either, but I think we've hit on a good point, which is that a lot of the problems that we encounter with AI are also because they are part of a tech bubble culture and a branding thing, and just the overall increasing scamminess of the entire structure of everything around us in this country 24/7. The fact that AI in America thus far has also been a scam in many ways, and marketed as a scam and made profit as a scam in the way that it is presented to people, I think is worth keeping in the conversation, as opposed to maybe the way it's being implemented out there, and just kind of watching how it develops.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's I feel like we're so, yeah, it's hard to even wrap your head around, like, well, how would technology develop in the absence of like
Profit,
the
rent
profit
seeking.
imperative,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, exactly. You know, and yeah, it's almost it's almost inconceivable to to the U.S. American mind. You know, it's so hard to.
I miss being able to just buy something that works, and it just works after you buy it the one time, and they're not like rent seeking and squeezing every little bit they can get out of you all the time.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Never happen again.
And that ship has sailed.
Yep.
All right, well, another positive end to the Tired Podcast.
We're
Another
so
There we
good
go.
at it.
going out on a high note.
We're the best. We are the all-time champs of having a bunch of fun little stories and a whole
Fun
little laugh
bants.
fest. Yeah, and then we get to the end and we're like, all right, now everything's pretty bad out there, but that's why we have rule one.
back to form.
Yeah.
Back to form.
Yeah.
It's as if we never took any time off. Cool. Well, yeah. Should we leave it there and
Stay tired.
reconvene? Yeah. All right.
Stay
tired, everyone.
Stay tired.
Stay tired out there, and we will be back soon.
Bye.